and order in the country. The acting president affirms that Nigeria remains committed to supporting the peace, security, stability and development in Somalia and looks forward to working with President Farmajo on other key areas of shared interest and mutual concerns such as the fight against terrorism and security sector reforms. In addition, the acting president notes the successful efforts of the Somali security forces and the African Union mission in Somalia, AMISOM, and their invaluable role in ensuring a safe and secure environment during the electoral process. According to him, this successful election is a landmark achievement for the people of Somalia in particular and Africans in general. He wishes the new government a successful tenure that will usher in long-lasting stability and prosperity to the Somali people. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says the federal government's whistleblowing policy has started yielding results as it has so far led to the recovery of $151 million. In a statement from the special assistant to the minister, Segun Adeyemi, said the looted funds, which do not include the $9.2 million in cash allegedly owned by a former group managing director of NNPC, which was dividend of the whistleblower policy. All these monies were recovered from just 3 sources through whistleblowers who gave actionable information to the Office of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation. The biggest amount of $136,676,651 was recovered from an account in a commercial bank where the money was kept under an apparently fake account name, followed by 7 billion naira and $15 million from another. Lai Mohammed reiterated that when the federal government told Nigerians that there was a primitive and mindless looting of the national treasury under the last administration, some skeptics denied it. However, the whistleblower policy is barely 2 months old and Nigerians have started feeling its impact, seeing how a few people squirreled away public funds. It is doubtful if any economy in the world will not feel the impact of such mind-boggling looting of the treasury as was experienced in Nigeria, the minister maintained. He added that whatever has been recovered so far, including the $9.2 million by the EFCC, is just a tip of the iceberg, and appealed to Nigerians with useful information on looted funds to continue to provide the authorities with such information, saying confidentiality will be maintained with regards to the source of the information. The minister also reminded Nigerians of the financial reward aspect of the policy, saying if there is a voluntary return of stolen or concealed public funds or assets on the account of the information provided, the whistleblower may be entitled to anywhere between 2.5% minimum and 5% maximum of the total amount recovered. The United Nations estimates that Africa's population will double to 2.5 billion by 2050, and about 400 million of these people will live in Nigeria alone. Consequently, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, projects that food production must increase by 50% by 2030 to meet food demand and economy of the increasing population. Justin Bermuye reports that key players are convinced that in Africa, agriculture has to be commercialized to translate economic growth to employment creation.
Thank you.
Last decade has been reported to be remarkably well above 5%. Records show that Nigeria has equally enjoyed a relative stable and modest economic growth rate during this period, having grown by an average of about 6% annually. It is, however, observed that the economic growth is lower when compared to that of the population, thereby resulting to high demand of food, job opportunities, as well as poverty. Latest statistics reveal a national unemployment rate of 13.9% and youth unemployment rate of 45.65%. To address food security as well as job and wealth creation within poor economies in Africa, particularly Nigeria, agriculture key players say agriculture in Africa must be commercialized and new agri-entrepreneurship must spring up.
African agriculture has to be commercialized. Commercialization means that yes, we commercialize small holdings, link small farmers to markets, It means also we encourage entrepreneurs to invest in medium and large-scale agriculture with direct linkages from farm through supply chain development and value chain development to local, regional, and global markets. Improving agricultural productivity in Africa requires new varieties. It requires indeed the use of chemical fertilizers. It requires mechanization. It requires research and development. We see a direct link to providing infrastructure, second pillar. You need infrastructure to move products around. We have cases in Africa where there is surplus production in one place and hunger just a few miles in another location. You need good infrastructure to link farmers to markets. Within that context, you need energy. Energy to enhance food processing.
Analysts have attributed a slow pace of agri-development for employment in Nigeria to lack of well-coordinated and sustained policies, as well as paucity of evidence-based research on which sound policies can be premised.
What is happening on ground? Where's the interaction between the current policies in place and the implementation? Then what is also the level of interaction between implemented policies and the planned outcomes? And sometimes we also have unexpected outcomes. What will be the outcome is the impact of those policies on the lives of Nigerians, on the economy, on the social structures, and so on. This is where now research comes in. Research can bring out all of those issues, from the benchmarking to interrogation of the policy design itself in relationship to implementation and in relationship to outcomes.
These experts believe that good governance and institution building in Africa can change the continent when political leadership from governments invest in all identified building blocks. In Abuja, Justin Bemunyi, NTAi News.
Still on agriculture, with a bumper harvest recorded during the 2016 wet season farming, it is expected that prices of food items will drop as low as possible, going by the law of demand and supply. But the reverse is the case, as Nigerians, especially those in the urban centers, still experience high costs of food items, while farmers, on the other hand, are happy with the development. And this report, agriculture correspondent Musa Babaliu takes a look at factors responsible for the development and the steps being taken by government to change the trend.
It is a tradition for prices of food items to go down during and after harvest, as farmers usually push excess of their produce to the market. But the 2016-2017 harvest came with a difference. Despite the bumper harvest, inflation remains high. Farmers and agriculturists attribute the high cost of produce to dearth of inputs, especially fertilizer. For instance, for a farmer to produce 10 bags of maize, it will require at least 4 bags of fertilizer, with each sold at higher as 12,500 naira during the cultivation period.
Farmers cannot be able to use fertilizer due to high price. So we want government to support small farmers and the big farmers.
Even food has to do with cost of transportation, cost of how you buy your inputs.
Demand Nigerian produce from the neighboring countries, as well as agro-allied industries, are identified as part of the contributing factors.
The cost of importation of maize is also very high. A lot of companies that before now were importing maize into the country to do their job are now looking inwards to buy.
But the exchange rate too has impacted negatively from a number of buyers coming from Niger, Cameroon and so on, to buy from our farmers at foreign exchange where they earn a lot more. And therefore, the rest of Nigerians have to compete with this.
The federal government has raised concerns with the inflation rate and therefore set up a task force on food security to address the worrying incidence of rising costs of food items in the market. The task force, which consists 80 ministers as members, has identified key factors responsible for the high cost of food items. Minister of Agriculture Audu Ogbe is a member of the task force.
We also find that transporters of food items are complaining bitterly about checkpoints by local government tax officials, sometimes police checkpoints, sometimes other security agencies, demanding money from them for every truck load of food they carry. All these add to the cost. Then, of course, there's a problem of diesel. At 300 naira per liter, the trailer driver moving goods from wherever, Kano, Yola, or Lagos to Kaduna or whatever, is spending more than he or she did before to move the goods. So all of these add up to the cost of food. But it's a bit unrealistic to say it is because there is no food. There is.
Farmers, if they let them, upscale their production, there's sufficient market, not only for Nigerians, but the entire West African sub-region. So there is enough incentive, from federal government through the Anchor Program scheme, through other, programs that we have, the GES and other programs that we have in the Ministry of Agriculture, to encourage agribusiness and upscale, investment in agriculture.
On inputs such as fertilizer, the federal government says it has developed a strategy that will boost fertilizer production towards selling it to farmers at cheaper rate. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTAi News.
From Ibadan, southwest Nigeria, experts who spoke with Ayomiko Ajibola suggested the regulation of food supply chain in order to reduce the cost of food items.
Stakeholders in the food supply chain said lack of accessible roads, high cost of living, and extorting of money from truck drivers who transport farm produce to various urban centers are responsible for the price increase on food items, while some lament that bad roads are also responsible for their produce to get decay before reaching their destinations.
Farmers, they don't have enough materials to work on the farm. Fertilizers like chemicals, drug tags, we don't have that one sufficient to the farmers.
The money for transport before, you are carrying one bag 500 naira, now it's 1,005. So everything is already cost. So if you are coming, you will see a lot of police. There is FRSC, so everything now is already tight.
Reacting to the federal government setting up a task force on food security to curb rising costs of food items, experts says it is not the way forward, while some advocate for functional rail transport service, which they believe is more economical.
But if government can come up with policies that will enable them to buy from the farmers at reasonable prices, that will not be too ridiculous.
At all levels, federal, state, and local governments neglected rural infrastructure. There are no schools, no health facilities, and this have a great effect on the producers, who are the farmers.
However, identify mechanization, irrigation, use of fertilizers and accessible road network as the ways for increasing food production and the supply to the consumers. Ayomiko Ajibola.
Now to arts and culture, as the federal government takes steps to salvage the nation's economy from recession, one sector whose potential needs to be tapped is culture and tourism. Correspondent Olayinka Ojo in this report takes a look at cultural carnivals as a tool for wealth and job creation.
Culture, a component of tourism, has become an important tool for developed and developing economies. It is one of the fastest growing sectors globally. According to statistics, the sector in 2014 contributed over 10% to world's GDP. In sub-Saharan Africa, it generated over $70 billion in 2015. Past and present administrations believe that cultural carnivals provide credible platforms for national unity, peaceful coexistence, and understanding of our oneness in diversity. One scheme that has put culture in the front burner is the National Youth Service Corps scheme, as it is fast transforming the nation in this era of search for non-oil income. With creativity being key, the corps members from different platoons on their cultural day adorn costumes that cut across borders and tribes, enhancing friendship and lovely dance steps.
alone, the people, the culture, not even the physical tourist centers will attract a lot of foreigners.
To the participants, the event has changed their perception about other ethnic groups in Nigeria.
Yeah, nobody talk about their language or where you're coming from. We see ourselves as one.
Tourism should be another thing Nigeria should also invest in. Make good roads, create more revenues.
The memories of the day, both old and young say, will linger for a time to come. In Abuja, Olayinka Ojo, NTAi News.
You're watching NTAi International News from Abuja, Nigeria. Time to take a break. To return shortly with more reports. Stay tuned.
NTAi International News. Africa as it is.
Report from outside Nigeria. Here is Musa Babaliu.
The Democratic People's Republic of Korea fired a ballistic missile towards the east coast of the country on Sunday, the first since Donald Trump took office as U.S. president. The missile flew east towards the Sea of Japan for about 300 miles, South Korea officials say. The United States and Japanese governments have raised concerns over the missile test. The Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said the test was absolutely intolerable, although Japanese officials say the missile did not reach its waters.
The President of the United States and the Prime Minister of Japan.
Speaking at a joint conference during a visit to the U.S., Mr. Abe added that Mr. Trump had also assured him that he was committed to further enforcing alliance between the two countries.
完全に遵守すべきです。
North Korea must fully comply with the relevant UN Security Council resolutions.
I just want everybody to understand and fully know that the United States of America stands behind Japan, its great ally, 100%.
And in Europe, it was reported that at least 70,000 people in the Greek city of Thessaloniki are being evacuated so that a World War II bomb can be defused. The bomb was discovered during roadworks last week and is due to be disposed of on Sunday. The explosive is believed to be one of the largest wartime bombs to be found in urban Greece, in addition to being one of the largest mass evacuations. An Egyptian woman believed to be the world's heaviest woman at 500 kilograms will be flown to India for weight reduction surgery. Iman Ahmad Abdul Ati, 36, will be flown on a chartered plane to Mumbai for the surgery.
She's happy to be here, of course. She has been suffering for a long time, and hopefully it will be over.
Mrs. Abdul Ati family say she has not been able to leave home for 25 years now and claims she weighs 500 kilograms. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTAi News.
Now, the Nigerian Army contingent of the just concluded Lagos City Marathon 2017 were rewarded with promotions and cash gates for beating its last year's performance in the exercise. In view of their wonderful feat at the event that fielded world-class runners and to encourage them, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukuru Yusuf Buratai, has directed their elevation to the next higher rank, respectively, and donation of cash gift of 150,000 naira to each of the athletes. The beneficiaries, that include both male and female athletes who came from various formations and units of the Nigerian Army, beat previous records placed last year by the Nigerian Army team at the sporting event. This year, Nigerian Army presented 13 runners, 9 males and 4 females, to participate in the 2017 marathon. In the male category, 7 out of the 9 male runners occupied between the 10th and 18th positions. Their 4 female counterparts also came within the 8th and to 11th position overall. A statement by the Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka Usman, indicates that this year's contingent's impressive performance did not come as a surprise because of the Chief of Army Staff's resolve to rejuvenate sports in the Nigerian Army. In contributing to the nation's sports development, a long-distance and high-altitude training camp was established at Jos Plateau State, in addition to the facilities available at the Nigerian Army Physical Training School in Zaria, Kaduna State, to further enhance the training and performance of the Nigerian Army. Let's now join Chukwunonso Nwabweze for a recap of some major sporting events in the outgone week.
Good to have you join us on this week's edition of Sports Roundup. We begin with the game of golf.
More than 150 golfers from hosts Nigeria, Ghana and Zimbabwe, as well as 140 guests, vied for honors at the 19th Ladies Open Amateur Tournament, which teed off at the IBB International Golf and Country Club, Abuja, Thursday. The 18-hole competition featured handicaps 0 to 28 and 29 to 36.
It's an opportunity for us to come together in this city of unity to recreate, build relationship, and to network.
In cycling, 5 cyclists departed Nigeria on Friday to Egypt for the 2017 African Continental Road Championships set to start Tuesday this week. About 20 teams with 5 to 8 athletes per team will compete in the male and female categories. Team Nigeria, on its second appearance in the competition since 2013, is expected to face stiffer oppositions in Morocco and Eritrea.
We are going to give out our best. We are going to fight. We believe that we can do well.
Now, Nigeria's way to become Lagos City Marathon champions continued over the weekend as Kenyans again getted away the ultimate prize.
Last edition's winner, Abraham Kipton of Kenya, on Saturday emerged winner of the male category of the 2017 Lagos City Marathon. Kipton, who pocketed a cash prize of $50,000, won the 42.1 kilometers race for the second time in a row in 2 hours, 15 minutes, 20 seconds. While Nigeria's Ilia Pamwanta went home with 1 million naira after emerging first Nigerian to cross the finish line. In the women's category, Tanui Roda of Kenya crossed the finish line in a time of 2 hours, 37 minutes, 50 seconds to win the female race. However, 7-year-old Damilolo Oluwaseun almost stole the show for the Kenyans when she completed 10 kilometers of the 42 kilometers race. The teenager, who joined the race from the end of Lekki Bridge, said she was elated to have run 10 kilometers. The race, which started at the National Stadium, Lagos, and finished at the Eko Atlantic City, had about 55,000 runners, including physically challenged athletes from 27 countries, including host Nigeria. Meanwhile, London 2012 Olympics gold medalist Maria Savinova was stripped of her 800 meters title after being found guilty of doping. The Court of Arbitration for Sport on Friday imposed a 4-year ban on the Russian, saying there was clear evidence she used performance-enhancing drugs. It will be recorded that Savinova beat South Africa Caster Semenya into second position at the London Olympics, a situation that has since changed following the CAS decision. In football, one of Nigeria's representatives.
That's Chukwunonso Nwabweze on Sports Roundup. We'll now take a look at Monday's weather prospect in Nigeria and other cities around the world. That concludes the news on NTAi International. I'm Nifai Okafo. Thanks for watching.